Impulse shopping. Most people are guilty of it. But here's a little secret. It's not your fault. Imagine if someone was slipping you a little something over and over again without your knowledge. Well, that's kind of what's happening through subtle marketing tricks that most people are unaware of. Hey everyone, I'm Rose Colburn, and in this video, we're exploring the real emotional triggers behind impulse shopping. We'll talk about how marketers are slipping us a little something to make impulse shopping seem so irresistible. And I'll even talk about what you can do today to start taking back control over your spending. You're not going to want to miss this, because this is about more than just money. It's about taking back your peace of mind, and you're going to hear inside secrets from someone who is in the marketing business for over 20 years. So let's start exploring why impulse shopping might be impacting you more than you realize. But first, why do we fall in the trap of impulse shopping in the first place? Why does it have such a strong control over us? Our brains are wired to respond to rewards, and shopping can activate that dopamine release, giving us a little hit of pleasure. It feels good at first, like a tiny treat, but then we end up chasing that feeling, often at the expense of our peace of mind and financial health. Does that sound familiar? Drop a yes in the comments if you've ever felt that quick thrill only to later wonder why you bought that item at all. Now, this whole idea of retail therapy is another layer of this trap altogether, and it's not what it seems. Let's think about what they're really selling us on here. When we shop, we experience a spike in dopamine, the same chemical tied to pleasure and reward. It's what makes those buy now buttons so addictive. But here's the kicker. That dopamine does not last. And when the rush fades, we're left with the same emotions that drove us to shop in the first place. And the cycle begins again, which is why impulse shopping is so harmful to our finances. Every time we give in to the temptation, we're slipping our brains just a little something. But when it wears off, we're stuck with the aftermath of what's happened to our bank accounts. And we feel like crap, even more than we did before, because we want to feel good again. Retail therapy sounds harmless, even a little comforting, right? But let's think about retail therapy in another way. What if we called other bad habits therapy? Like if a person was trying to lose weight and they kept binge eating over and over again, and we just started calling that cake therapy. Sounds almost innocent. But this is what marketers have done with the term retail therapy. They've wrapped up impulse shopping in comforting language, so we don't see the real harm it's doing to our finances and well-being. We don't just shop for things. We shop to feel something. Let me paint you a picture. It's late at night, and you can't sleep. Maybe you've had a rough day at work, or something's been bothering you. You pick up your phone just to distract yourself just for a moment. Before you know it, you're scrolling through Amazon. Oh, look, there's a sale on that gadget I've been thinking about buying. Or, wow, those shoes would be perfect for that event I don't even have planned yet. An hour, maybe two passes, and your cart is full. With a single tap, you've placed your order. For a moment, you feel a little thrill, like you've accomplished something. But then it hits. Maybe right after you check out. Maybe a few hours into your sleep, or maybe not until the next morning. But eventually, the regret starts seeping in. The what did I do feeling? And now, not only you're dealing with the emotions that got you there in the first place, you're also thinking about the money you've just spent and all those packages that are on your way. Does that sound familiar? Here's the thing. Impulse shopping isn't just about buying stuff. It's about trying to fill an emotional gap, whether it's stress, boredom, or even a need for validation. And marketers know this. They're not just selling you products, they're selling you feelings, good feelings, emotional highs, the little something called dopamine to smooth over the rough patches of whatever is going on in your life. But awareness is the first step to taking back control. Once you recognize the emotional triggers that led to impulse shopping, you can start to change the pattern. This is where my reset framework comes in. The reset framework is a step-by-step approach to help you recognize, understand, and manage your impulse shopping habits. You start by becoming aware of the tricks that marketers use to get us to shop. For example, you ever notice how those "today only 50% off" signs create such a sense of urgency, or how your favorite influencer casually mentions products they just can't live without? These are deliberate strategies designed to bypass your logical brain and target your emotions. So here's a tip you can use to take action. Start keeping track of your triggers. The next time you feel the pull to shop, pause and ask yourself, what emotion am I trying to address right now? Am I bored, stressed, feeling unappreciated? Whatever it is, write it down in a journal or even in your phone notes. This simple act of noticing can help you break the unconscious cycle. Noticing and acknowledging your triggers gives you an edge over the little tricks that marketers play, because they know if they can bypass your conscious thoughts and get you to give in to your impulse shopping habit, the dopamine will kick in and take over. What if I told you that some of the most brilliant minds in the world are working hard every day, not to make your life better, but to make you spend more money? As someone who's been in the marketing business for over 20 years, I've seen the strategies that marketers use to target consumers. From the placement of items in the store to the colors used in online buy now buttons, everything is designed to bypass your logical thinking and appeal straight to your emotions. You ever wonder why items near the checkout lane are so small and tempting, or why every online sale feels like it's limited time only? That's no accident. It's neuroscience at work. Marketers know that our brains are wired to react to urgency and scarcity. Phrases like "only 2 left" or "sale ends tonight" create a fear of missing out, FOMO, that pushes us to buy without thinking. And it's just not the sales banners. Social proof plays a huge role too. When you see glowing reviews, influencer recommendations, or phrases like bestseller, it's not just information. It's a psychological nudge designed to make you trust the product and feel validated in your decision to buy it. The good news, when you know the tactics, you can fight back. One of the best ways to combat this is by adding a pause between the impulse and the action. For instance, before you click buy now, ask yourself, is this on my list? Do I really need it? Will I regret this tomorrow? Just that moment of reflection can weaken the emotional holds those tactics have on you. This pause is what I call the evaluate step in my reset framework. It's a critical moment where you give your brain time to catch up to the decision that marketers want you to make right now. By stopping to think, you remain in control over your spending and choose how you want to spend your money intentionally. But here's the thing, just recognizing the pause isn't enough. You need a strategy to turn that pause into meaningful action that prevents the purchase altogether. This is where practical strategies come in. Let's talk about how to stop impulse shopping in its tracks and take charge of your spending. I've developed a few strategies that can help with you. Today, I want to share with you the one that's been a game changer for me. It's the one that helped me break the cycle of impulse spending, especially when it came to grocery shopping. Have you ever been in a situation in your life where you absolutely had to come up with a solution for something? Well, that's where this strategy came in. They say necessity is the mother of all invention. You see, one of my biggest challenges has always been grocery shopping. I'd walk in with a budget, but then there'd be great sale on meat, or one of those tempting buy one get one free offers, or 10 for 10 deals that always just seem too good to pass up. How many times have you been tempted by those things? For me, those temptations were irresistible. 10 for $10? Awesome. We need 10 cans of green beans. Even though my kids hate eating green beans. And guess what? Before I knew it, I'd spent way more money than I'd planned. But hey, it sure felt great to see all those cans of green beans lined up along with other groceries on the counter until the reality hit and I was scrambling to figure out how to juggle the rest of the monthly expenses. It was one time this happened in late October and I was sitting at my desk trying to figure out how to pay the electric bill and wondering if it was late enough in the year that the electric company couldn't disconnect the electricity because it was late. I remember thinking, if I had just paid the electric bill a few days ago, the money wouldn't have been in my account and I would have had to stay on budget. I started thinking back to a time in my life when things were really tight financially. We didn't have much money and my bank account reflected that. I made sure we always had enough to eat. Our shelves weren't as overflowing with food, but we got by. And that's when it hit me. During those times when money was tight, I was actually more disciplined with my finances. Back then, I stuck to my budget because I had no choice. I couldn't spend what wasn't in my account. So I decided to recreate the environment in a way that worked for me at that time. I had to make sure the money wasn't in my account when I went shopping. Make it so inconvenient to get extra money that I stayed on budget. So I set up a separate savings account at my bank, one that was not connected to my checking account for any overdraft charges, but where I could access both accounts through online login. Before I go grocery shopping, I'd log into my online banking app and transfer exactly what I'd budgeted, plus maybe $5 or $10 for an extra cushion from this extra savings account into my checking account. That's it. If I wanted to spend more, I'd have to physically log in to my bank app and transfer more money, which would force me to think twice about whether I really needed to make that extra purchase. Trust me, there's no more buying 10 cans of green beans anymore. That strategy has been a lifesaver. It keeps me mindful and accountable for my spending habits, and it's helped me avoid blowing my budget time and time again. What's powerful about this strategy is that it creates a barrier between you and impulsive decisions. By making it a little bit harder to spend more than you planned, it forces you to pause and think about your purchases. That pause is often all it takes to stop yourself from going overboard. And it's not just about groceries. You can use this strategy for any type of spending. I have a set amount of money that I keep in my bank account at all times. The rest of the money is always in this extra savings account. So I don't ever have to worry about waking up in the morning to the sickening feeling that I blew my budget in a midnight Amazon binge shopping trip. The key is to set up systems that keep you accountable and give you time to evaluate your choices before acting on impulse. Now, I know this is just one strategy, and there's so much more to uncover when it comes to controlling impulse shopping. But even starting with this one small step can make a huge difference in your spending habits and your peace of mind. So if you found this helpful, let me know in the comments below. Have you ever tried something simple? Something similar to this? Or is there another strategy that you use to keep your spending in check? I'd love to hear about it. Remember, regaining control over your spending isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Small, intentional strategies like this one can lead to big changes over time. If you're ready to dive deeper into transforming your relationship with money and impulse shopping, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next part of this series where we're going to take a deeper look at the role of neuroscience and your money and more strategies to control your spending habits. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.